So today I'll be talking about Cerro El Dragón in Costa Rica. That's a hard enduro race, and it's translated to the Dragons and Mountain. The race was a one-day race. It was 2 laps, and it was in some of the most beautiful mountains I've ever raced in. I've been in equally beautiful places, but very few times have I had the privilege and joy of actually racing in mountains this incredible. If you haven't seen the video from this race, then please check the link, and you'll see a little short video of the area that I filmed before the race when all these people took me out for a ride. It's just gorgeous. So if you haven't gone to that place, Costa Rica, you certainly should consider go there on your next Enduro holiday, if that's a thing of yours. And the first thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is the fact that I felt on going into this race that I probably had a little bit more level than the majority of the riders. What I'm trying to say is that I went into it really calm. So before we start talking about the big mistake that I made in the beginning, I was just going to take it really easy and let these guys guide me. And I was thinking a lot about my buddy Mario Roman, who did exactly that to all of us recently in Mexico, when he was just leading and I was trying to sprint by him and get away because I wanted to get to the hard sections as one of the first riders. And he was just cruising, and he kind of knew all along, and he even said it to me at one point that I'll get you on the hard part, and he did. So I was kind of feeling the same here. Not really much to learn right here, other than I wanted to say to all the local riders that tried to get away from me in the beginning, maybe it's better to relax a little bit when someone you assume has a higher level. You try to sit behind them a little bit and see if you can learn something from riding just behind them. For me, there is a lot of valuable technique to pick up when I'm riding behind a guy like Mario or Graham or Johnny, any of these top guys, or even, a lot of the other guys that's been kicking my ass all year long. So I feel like maybe that's an advice for the local guys. If I come back or someone around my level, it's really hard not to sound arrogant in this, but I'm meaning it from a good place. I'm saying it from a good place in my heart. Just try to stay behind and see what you can learn. All right, so here's something that I was really surprised by, that 2 minutes and 30 into the race, I was already drowning my bike. It was this river section. We had to cross it a couple of times, and I get to it, and these 2 guys in front of me, the first guy up is Steven Calderon, and then the second guy is called Tulio Hernandez. And these 2 guys are going through it, and I see that Tulio, he's all of a sudden in the river, and I figured, that's weird. Why is he already in there? So obviously something must have been knocking him off the bike. I should have paid more attention to that. Instead, I went in and I did exactly the same as he did. I did something that made me fall off and drown the bike, and it took me a fair bit of time to start it up again. And at the same time, as you can see on the rear view mirror that I have, thanks to another GoPro on my helmet, you can see people were like trying to get going, and I created a big line behind me, which in turn allowed my friend Felipe Echandi on the Cerro to catch up to me, because he was, before the race, kind of the only one I knew, and I knew he had a really good riding level. So I didn't realize at that point that he was behind me, but it was, he definitely took advantage of the traffic that I created. So what's to learn from that? If you see a dude in front of you who's struggling to get through a river situation, then there's probably something wrong in the river. Maybe there's a rock that you can't see. Be really careful. I wish I could go back. It doesn't matter now because the outcome of the race was good anyways, but I wish I thought a little bit more, because it really frustrated me. Not to get wet, it was fine. It was so warm. It was actually nice to get wet. The frustrating part was getting my gloves wet. And with wet gloves and the kind of grips that I had on, I'm not sure if there are any better or worse grips for wet riding conditions. I'm not sure. It was really hard to hold on to my handlebar, and it created a lot of arm pump. And I literally can't remember when I ever had this much arm pump in a hard enduro before. I was completely useless for the first probably 30 or 40 minutes. So don't fall in the water. Okay, so next up is a classic moment for me, I guess. I'm second guessing where to go. When in retrospect, when I'm looking at the video, it was pretty obvious that I was on a trail. I should just have followed the trail, but there were all of a sudden no marks. And I know this because I used to work as a track manager for many years, and we always talked about putting up a lot of marks or no marks or something in between. So the thing is, in my experience, is that if you are telling your riders as an organizer or track manager with a lot of tape where to go, and you all of a sudden stop putting up tape, you're confusing people. And it's not that it's right or wrong, it's just you have to be consistent. So if you do one thing, keep doing that. And that's one thing I found with this race, that they used tape, pink tape, they used spray on the rocks and trees, they drew arrows, they used signs. I think there were like 5 or 6 different types, and I'll definitely recommend that you only use one for where you need to go, and you try to be consistent. So when you're in a race mode, it's so different, which I find that sometimes if you want to be a really good track manager or an organizer, you need to have been a racer, or you need to at least get into some races yourself to really understand the kind of stress and intensity we normally ride with. And then the last thing I want to say about this is that if it's the wrong way, if you want to indicate that you're going the wrong way, do not use the same color. No matter how big of an X you make on the trees, or you write no or wrong way or whatever it is. When I'm racing and I've been told to follow the orange spray or pink ribbon or whatever it is, then that's the only thing I care about. I'm not reading, I'm not looking at X's, I just see color, okay, that's where I need to go. So it's just a small little thing that I thought was worth commenting on. It is a critique, but it's a constructive critique, so I hope they take it like this if they watch the video. Okay, so a big congrats to the organizers of this race, Cerro el Dragón, for clearing and cleaning an endless forest section. There's nothing really I want to take out in terms of sharing technique or feedback on my own riding or what I saw everybody else do on this section. Just really cool job. Good job, guys. This was probably one of the most fun hill climbs I've ever done in my life, and they just cut out exactly where you'd go on the bike, and everything else was pretty much impossible. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about on this first lap of the Dragon Hard Enduro in Costa Rica is, and it was kind of funny, it was on part of the racetrack we had to all of a sudden go against the race direction, and I was really unsure of if this was actually true. But thankfully, before the race, I was sent the tracks so I could put them on my GPS, and I was looking on the map, and I was thinking and talking to my buddy Felipe about it. Is this really true? The reality was that we had to do a loop and then come back, and upon finishing that loop, we basically have to go back the same way we came. And even though I'd seen it on Google Earth before the race started, like the day before, I was questioning it, I was not sure. But then I knew that the dude up by the checkpoint, he said just follow the 3 dots. He did say green dots, and I never saw any green dots, so I was looking all over. There are green dots. There weren't no green dots, but I did see 3 dots. So I thought, he's probably wrong. He probably heard wrong. There are no green dots, there's probably only orange dots. So I was coming against the race direction, and I saw 3 orange dots, and I thought, why would you put orange dots on that side of the tree? Because you would never be able to see them from the first race direction, if that makes any sense. So I thought, it's got to be here, although I'm going against traffic. And then eventually I get down to a checkpoint, and it turns out that they doubled that checkpoint and used it for 2 different directions. And how they kept track on who to send where, I guess they could see where we came from. But at the end of the day, my point is, if you have a chance, study the map. I know that you don't always have that chance at all, but I've seen it more and more often. I guess I've experienced it more and more often with myself. The more time you can put into studying the race, understanding the rules, speak to the track manager, stuff like that, it might give you that little bit of edge during the race. Maybe never, maybe just one time out of the many races you do, but alright, so I forgot one point, which is launching my bike. If you've seen any of my videos before, maybe those from Romania, you've seen that sometimes I launch my bike. I'm not really sure why I keep doing it. I guess it could be a little bit of lack of confidence in my own technique, but I do feel that sometimes when you can't get up The only way to do it when you're out there on your own is just to give it that little bit of extra gas and just kind of kick it towards the top of that section you're trying to clear. It's risky, it's really risky to be honest, because you have the possibility of breaking your levers or damaging your handlebar, or pretty much anything on the bike could break when you do this. And for some reason I found the need to do it twice. I'm not sure if it was just me not really understanding the grip or not feeling enough power to begin with. But anyways, I had to do it a couple of times, and just be really careful. Don't practice this too much. It's a little bit too risky. I'll be putting out the second lap very soon, but it's Christmas, and I hope you have a good Christmas and you enjoy and relax, and I'll see you in the next videos. All right, bye.